Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Press Any Button. It's season 2.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. I'm Nikki.
I'm Eric.
And I'm special guest, Mark.
Oh my gosh, special guest Mark. That's his official name, too.
This is the part you wrote, right?
Yeah. All right. So today we're going to be talking about Metal Gear Solid 2.
Hell yeah.
Sons of Liberty, which is a 2001 stealth game developed and published by Konami for PlayStation 2. This game is a direct sequel to Metal Gear Solid, the original, and you actually start about 2 years after the death of Solid Snake in this game. You also play as a rookie Foxhound agent on his first mission to infiltrate the offshore decontamination facility to rescue the president.
You do.
And spoiler alert, if you're 20 years behind and you haven't played this game yet.
Like some of us were.
Yeah. We're going to be talking about major storylines and plot points and all that good stuff.
Yes, we are going to spoil the shit out of this game for you.
Oh, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Which, honestly, you could still play the game, and I don't know. It may not spoil.
Yeah, I don't know.
You'll see.
I think
okay?
there's a lot of people who would appreciate you just tell them the story so that they can skip all the cutscenes, right? Like, that's arguably a good way to play the game.
That may or may not have been what I did. You called me out, exactly.
All right, yeah, let's get into it.
Oh, yeah, and if you guys are listening, you're like, oh, Mark Spurlock, that name sounds familiar. It might be because he's in our show notes every week because he's helped us with about 90% of all of the music that we use for the podcast.
Yes,
So,
the music that Eric Stetson hasn't helped us with.
exactly. And that one beat that I made. Remember? That
Yeah,
one
that's
awesome
great.
Beat?
That's pretty cool.
I'm still very proud of that beat, okay?
It was a very good beat. Remember how I made the suggestion so you add the symbols in
Yeah,
there?
you helped. You did help.
Collaboration, man.
Yeah.
That's what counts.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
So, I'm excited to learn about this game and its history.
Yeah, so I'll get into the past section. So Metal Gear Solid 2 was directed, written, and designed by Hideo Kojima. And the game is largely based on his writing and vision, so I'm going to be kind of focused on him.
Okay. Well, his name is in the credits like 100 times.
Like a billion times. Okay, so early in life, Kojima wanted to make movies. When he was in high school, he would borrow his friend's 8mm camcorder, and they would make zombie movies together. It reminds me when I was in high school, and I would shoot sketches with a camera I got for Christmas with my friends.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you guys ever make movies in high school?
Oh, God, yeah, and I hope no one ever finds them.
I didn't. I took a lot of pictures, though. I was into photography and stuff in high school.
I feel like the least surprising fact in the universe after you played a Kojima game is that he actually wants to make movies.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It shows. The
yeah.
gameplay is there, and it's good, but boy, does he love to make movies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he was studying economics in college, he would write novels because he was hoping to get recognition as a writer and turn that into a career in film.
So he probably only went to school for economics because his family was like, you got to do something, that's going to make money and be professional or whatever. Do you think?
It could be. His dad died when he was a teenager. So that could have been motivation to kind of get into a more economically sound career. Mm-hmm. But anyway. Yeah,
it's just interesting to go to school for economics and then you end up being a movie maker / game maker.
Yeah, this is from the bygone era when a college degree would open up doors for you.
Yeah.
It didn't necessarily matter which one.
Yeah, that's true. So he would later end up getting a job in the video game industry working for Konami, something that initially embarrassed him since working in the video games industry was considered a low status job in Japan at the time.
Yeah.
So he would lie and tell people he worked for a bank.
Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Dang. It's opposite now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, people are ashamed to work at banks now.
Exactly. Boo, banks.
Oh, you work for a bank?
Get out of my bar.
Low status.
My dad will not approve of you.
When you meet my parents, please tell them you're a video game developer.
Yeah, just lie.
Okay, so the first game Hideo Kojima worked on for Konami was Penguin Adventure for the MSX computer as an assistant director, which was released in 1986.
Penguin Adventure.
Yeah. You guys ever play Penguin Adventure?
No.
Not play that
It
particular.
sounds
Kojima
fun,
title.
though.
After that, he started designing a game called The Lost World, which would end up being canceled because Konami thought the idea was too complicated.
Oh
What?
boy, this is the most
Wow.
foreshadowing heavy history section.
Well, if he thinks that's too complicated, I need to see the script or whatever storyboard for that game.
All right, so next, Kojima was asked to take over the Metal Gear project from a senior associate who had gotten stuck. Basically, the problem was that while Konami wanted a war game, the MSX hardware was limited to the number of enemies and bullets it could display at once. So Kojima's idea to fix the problem was to turn the game into a stealth infiltration game inspired by the film The Great Escape, where the goal was to avoid being detected. This would end up being the first stealth action game to find mainstream success.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, so he wasn't the first one to make a stealth action game, but he was the first one to make one that was popular.
Yeah.
Have you? I want to say we've played this game at your house once, many, many years ago. Do you remember the NES version?
Metal Gear Solid?
Metal Gear.
The
Metal Gear.
original?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played it very, very briefly. I think I encountered a guard and was like, okay, fuck this.
It's brutal. Like, just getting to the base. Like, they drop you in the woods, and you have to get through, like, 4 screens, and there's just, like, a couple of guards and dogs. It's virtually impossible just to get even that far. I beat it just, like, because I'm a fanboy or whatever, but, like,
Yeah.
with heavy use of save states and emulators, you know? it's tough.
Oh, nice. That would be fun to go back and
That's
play
a
some of those
pretty,
old games.
like, creative way to get around having a ton of characters on screen and all that stuff,
Yeah.
but still kind of have a war, inspired, I guess, story.
Yeah, it was a really good idea. So Kojima would follow up Metal Gear success with Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake, which while commercially successful, wasn't released in the US until 2006 when it was bundled with another game. So yeah, so you followed that up
Wait,
with...
so there's 2 Metal Gear Solid 2s?
No, this is just Metal Gear. We're still
My
at the
bad.
Metal Gear.
Okay.
No, like, you're not wrong to be confused. Because Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid,
Oh.
Metal Gear Solid 2.
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
thank you for clarifying.
It is insane.
Got you. I read that this was the 4th one, but I was just assuming there was like some spin-off games or something.
No, I
But
think-
so that makes sense.
Yeah, I think the idea was that, like, Metal Gear Solid was pretty much the first one that got any notoriety in the West. So they're just like, we're just going to pretend that was the first one, kind of called a soft reboot.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, Metal Gear Solid was the first 3D Metal Gear game and the sequel to Metal Gear 2, Solid Snake, released in 1998. The game was released to critical acclaim. Kojima became a celebrity in video game news media and was surprised when he began to be recognized in public. That was the game that kind of put Kojima on the map.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
So, have either of you played this game?
No, I got it. I started playing it, and then I realized I had a memory card issue because the PlayStation 2 memory cards don't work with PlayStation 1 games.
Yeah.
So you have to go back and buy a PlayStation 1 memory card, but then the newer models don't work on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, it's
So
like
you
a
have
whole
to go
thing.
get original hardware to get it to work.
That sucks.
I accidentally started playing it
What?
because it was in the PlayStation 2, and I was trying to play
Oh.
this one that we're talking about.
Right.
And then I got like 30 minutes in, and I was like, I don't think something is wrong. I don't think this is the second one.
I remember in PlayStation 2,
And then I was like,
people
wait.
had faces.
Yeah, I was like, this looks really old.
Yeah.
And then I immediately quit as soon as I figured out it was the wrong one. I put the second one in.
Yeah, for sure. Could I go ahead and kind of like set up the first game? Because I think you have to understand the first. You have to have played or at least like understand the first game to really get the second one.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
I'd say go for it.
It might help me.
Yeah. So like quick elevator pitch for Metal Gear Solid. It's very much the same like kind of game gameplay wise, but like you are Solid Snake, just like this like super badass world's greatest soldier pulled out of retirement to stop this terrorist threat. And so you go on like solo sneaking mission onto this base that some terrorists have just taken over, and they want $1 million to launch a nuke or whatever. Probably more than that. I don't remember the details. And the whole thing just turns into this like insane like plot twist heavy kind of espionage intrigue plot where like you're on Foxhound, you have all these operatives you can call by codec, but like they all have their own sort of secret agendas, and there's all these like the main bad guy turns out to be your brother Liquid Snake, who is like your other clone of Big Boss, the world's former greatest soldier, who is the bad guy from the first 2 games. So yeah, but like it's a much more straightforward game. Like it has a Mission Impossible style plot where there's like twists, but it's not like a mind fuck kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's just like you're a really cool soldier, and like the plot is really good, and there's a lot of like good characters and dialogue. Like, and you know, and people ate it up. It was a really cool game, and like if you can find a way to play it, I think you know it actually does hold up really well, and you might enjoy it even if you didn't like this one. But we'll get to that when I find out how you guys like this one.
I think we can play it now, right? You
Yeah,
actually
no,
got all the things
I have
set
all the
up in the
things.
right order and the
I
the
just
full moon. And
I just kind of
everything.
ran out of time, and
Oh,
Metal
yeah,
Gear
sure.
Solid 2 ended up taking me a little bit longer than I thought.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. Anyway, that's my spiel for MGS1.
Nice.
Okay, cool,
Okay.
cool.
Okay, so Metal Gear Solid 2: Sons of Liberty was released on in November of 2001 to widespread critical acclaim and commercial success. It won Best Console Game and Best Action Adventure Game at E3 that same year, and it won Game of the Year from Game Informer. It would go on to sell over 2 million copies by 2006. So yeah, it did really well. I do have some fun facts. Yeah, if you want to bring up anything too.
Yeah, and just
feel
real
free.
quick, I was looking up what other games came out that year. So it beat out Silent Hill 2, Halo Combat Evolved came out that year, Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Those are some good games.
Yeah,
a
Final
solid year.
Fantasy
Yeah.
10? Is that what X
Yeah,
is?
yeah,
yeah.
10.
Yeah, that was a really
came
good
out
one,
that
yeah.
year. So, yeah, that's some stiff competition.
Yeah. So now I just have some fun facts.
Fun facts.
You
My
do one,
favorite
and
part.
then I'll do one, and we'll see if I run out before you do.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah, I only have 3.
challenge.
So.
Okay, cool. I'm going off the top of my head, so we'll see
Fun
what happens.
fact off. Are we ready to rumble?
Okay, so fun fact number 1. According to Kojima, he came up with the idea of Raiden to appeal to female players. This was after overhearing female debuggers working on the first Metal Gear Solid remark that the game was not appealing to them.
Is that why they have that scene where he's naked and they almost show his penis like 10 times?
I seriously
For real. There is a scene where Raiden is strapped to this thing, butt naked, and Austin Powers style, they like conveniently have shoulders and like computers or whatever, like barely hiding his junk. It's so weird.
It's extremely tasteful.
It's a tasteful scene.
No,
Yeah.
like obviously, or maybe not obviously, but like in the West, a lot of people hated Raiden because he's not Solid Snake, and he's also just kind of really unlikable. But apparently, he's actually very popular in Japan for this sort of just like aesthetic reason of like he's more of an anime style pretty boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I feel Raiden's character was written pretty well. I just feel like he was miscast as far as the voice actor goes.
Sure.
I think that's one of the reasons he might be more disliked over here, because the voice actor, I don't think, did a very good job with him.
That could be it. But yeah, I think the first time I ever like saw this game being played, it was in that portion. And I was just like, what the fuck is this game? I eventually went on.
I said that many times while I was playing the game.
That's
so.
fair. Yeah.
It's a really good like first impression, I think.
Yeah, I mean, if you're if you want to be told how weird it is, that's a great section to start on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so I meant to ask you. So, did Raiden appeal to you more than Snake, as our female gamer and female perspective?
Yeah, I don't. They're like the same. I don't know. I like both of them. I guess if you're talking about maybe one's cuter than the other, I don't know. They're pretty much the same except one has blonde hair. They're like not that different, you know.
Yeah, I assume maybe it
I'm not
was
sure.
like the Jack and Rose storyline that was supposed to draw in female gamers more. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like this game, well, like so a lot of Kojima games don't do great under the sort of feminism lens. And
No.
This is very much one of them. Well, basically every female character dies in it, and yeah, it's got problems in that way.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll talk about later.
All right,
Mark, do you have a fun fact?
I do. I don't know which ones Eric has, so I'm gonna see if I steal one from you or not.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
The scene toward the end where they crash Arsenal Gear into Manhattan had to be edited right before it came out because originally the Twin Towers were in that shot. And so now it's actually like pretty unclear what the hell happened. You just kind of like see it like cresting over the water, and next thing you know, it has crashed and you're on top of Federal Hall at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did
That
have
was
that as a
weird.
fun fact. Yeah, and that is because it did come out right after 9/11. They censored some scenes.
Yeah, like
It makes
November, I think you
sense.
said, right? So just like almost no time to go back and fix anything. Like what they could
Yeah.
do but cut it.
In fact, there's some scenes towards the end. I think they edited out some American flags too,
Mm-hmm.
and there are some scenes that just don't really. They're just weird. They don't make sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like at one point, Raiden cuts the rope for an American flag, which is supposed to fall and cover Solidus's body. But yeah, so he just cuts the rope, and we stare down for a second
And nothing.
at nothing.
Yeah.
Oops. Yeah.
Oh, I'll do another fun fact. So fun fact number 3, Hideo Kojima developed his own scripting engine so he could decide when animations and music played instead of the programmers.
That's pretty funny.
Wait, what?
Hideo Kojima developed his own scripting language so he could decide when animations and music played instead of the programmers. He wanted to take that ability away from the programmers and give it to himself.
So he made his own that no one would know except for him, unless he taught them.
I think the idea is just like if he wants to decide that Yankee Doodle plays, whenever a guard spots you, he doesn't have to ask anyone to do that for him.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
just makes it happen.
You wanted that kind of control
Yeah.
over some of the cinematics, I think.
Gotcha.
So when
it's
you're
not that surprising.
So when you're looking at some of those cinematics, I just imagine that he was sitting there like tweaking every little thing, every little camera angle. It's like, yeah, I really want the feet here. I really want like from back
Yeah.
behind his head here. Those shots.
'Cause he
Yeah.
wants to make movies.
Yeah, he definitely seems like he'd be a very eccentric kind of person to work with.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably like major control freak, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And that's all of my facts.
Oh, wow, you only had 3?
Yeah, I only had 3.
I
And,
skipped one of
Mark knew one of them.
One that I just learned like in the past week when I was just looking around the internet for stuff about this game. Apparently, at one point, there's a character who got cut, another member of Dead Cell, by the name of Chinaman. So like, cool, dodged a bullet on that one.
Yeah.
And like his whole thing was like he had a dragon tattoo that would like come alive when he jumped in the water
Oh
or
my
something.
gosh. I mean, that kind of sounds cool.
It's kind of cool. You just wish he wasn't called Chinaman, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And the other thing was this character's backstory. He's not Chinese. He's Vietnamese.
Oh my gosh.
Which is just like, haha, how dare you assume he's Chinese because he's Chinaman? You're the racist. Like, okay, Kojima.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
Well,
probably
yeah,
for the best
that's-
we lost that one.
Probably the right call to edit that character out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've already got Fat Man, which is pushing it enough, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Fat Man was probably one of the worst characters in the game. Well, he was okay. I liked the fact that he was kind of a bigger guy, but he was on skates, so he was fast. So you wouldn't expect him to be fast.
Yeah, he's bonkers,
Yeah.
right? He's
I liked him.
But I thought his like whole story arc was kind of, I don't know. He's just like, oh, I want to be known as the bomber guy. Like that's kind of not that interesting compared to almost everything else going on in the story.
Yeah, true. I mean, they did put him first, so
Yeah, I guess he's the
they did
warm-up.
that.
I kind of liked the interplay between him and Stillman, though. Like, I still feel like that part is kind of cool, and like Stillman's whole thing where he's just been like faking his injury because he feels so bad about Fat Man or whatever. I don't know. That was an interesting dynamic.
I liked Fat Man. I liked that he had rollerblades.
And he's sipping wine from a straw when you finally meet him. Just like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Yeah.
Yeah,
Very creative, like villain. That's all.
Yeah.
yeah, that's a good point.
He's very much not the worst character name in the history of the franchise either.
Yeah.
All right, any other facts?
So a cool thing I think to just like kick off, it's sort of a fun fact, but also just like the sort of paradigm for like talking about the game is the whole project was basically this giant like smoke screen so that no one would know what the game was actually going to be. So going back to like the year or two before it came out, E3 trailer, they made this whole thing based on the tanker chapter, which is the part where you play as Snake. And like all the shots are from that. And it's just like Solid Snake and Otacon working together to fight Metal Gears on like, solo stuff. It's exactly the game that everyone wanted Metal Gear Solid 2 to be, right? Like we played the first one, we love it, Solid Snake is so cool, let's go even with better graphics and just do it. And like he basically demonstrated that he knew exactly what they wanted and that he could have made it, and then he chose not to, which I think is just, it's an important way to understand the game at least, because he definitely pulled the rug out from under him after it came out.
Yeah, and I love at the beginning of like Raiden's story where he still has the mask on.
Yeah.
They're still calling him Snake.
Right.
And then they change his code name or whatever.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god.
And then you realize that you're playing as somebody else.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
what?
But yeah, I heard that they kind of went to an extent to cover up the fact that it was going to be centered around Raiden for most of the story.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, they wanted that, like, shock.
So speaking of the story, I have a lot of questions about the story.
Oh, wait.
Oh, wait.
Oh, before we get into that, maybe we should take a little break and highlight one of the podcasts we've been talking to.
Sure, yeah, that sounds good.
Awesome.
Hello, welcome to the PlayCube Gamecast. I'm your host, Chase, and with me,
I'm Mushy.
as we discuss retrospective video game reviews, trying to figure out
I messed up. I'm sorry. I was going to say in movies. Sorry.
and try to see if they still hold up after all this time.
We also do the same with movies. The originals, the remakes, the reimaginings.
We will dive deeply, drunkenly into movies, games, and enjoy everything.
Sounds about right to me.
Unless we don't enjoy it, then we will let you know very plain and clear.
Oh, we will let you know.
Other than that, find us on all the podcasts. iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, your smart toaster.
There's smart toasters?
I wouldn't doubt it.
Oh my gosh, I need to know.
Anyway, this was Chase.
And Mushy.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Awesome. So we're back. Okay, so you have a ton of questions?
I have a million
Man,
questions about
I
the story.
have no questions. I got everything perfectly. I can recite every storyline, every outcome to you guys. So I'll be answering all your questions, Eric. Just, go
I was
ahead.
watching you play that, and you would get to the dialogue part, and you would hit start, and you would just skip all this dialogue. I was like, no, that's a good part. Don't skip that.
So funny. Yeah.
Yeah, so just kidding. We'll be asking Mark all the questions.
I feel like we should kind of define a few things so maybe the audience can follow along.
Okay.
If they don't really care about this
Yeah,
game
go
that much.
for it.
We have a bunch of snakes in this game. There are at
God,
least
yeah.
there are at least 3.
Yeah.
Not actual snakes.
The character's named Snake.
Yeah.
In the next game, they start introducing actual snakes.
Oh, God. So confusing.
So we have Solid Snake. We have Liquid Snake, who's is an arm.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, that's the whole thing.
Yeah. I think the sort of like canon name for him now is Liquid Ocelot because he's Liquid Snake's consciousness and arm in the body of Revolver Ocelot from the first game. Yeah, it's dumb. Very dumb.
And then we have another Solid Snake, who's the main terrorist, who ends up being Solidus, right?
Yeah. I don't understand. Man, there's so many plot holes around that. But yeah, Solidus Snake is the less confusing way to talk about him.
I like how they describe him as not liquid, not quite liquid, and not quite solid. Solidus.
There's all like going back to the first game.
It's
So
all
like
in between.
the first game, like genetics is a huge theme of it. And like, are you defined by your genes or whatever? Because they end up being clones of Big Boss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kojima's understanding of the way genetics works leaves a lot to be desired. So, like, in the first game, Liquid gives this speech of, like, you got all the dominant genes, and I got the recessive genes, so you're the perfect soldier, and I'm the leftovers. It's like, what are you talking about? And then, yeah, Solidus is apparently a perfect mix of dominant and recessive genes, whatever that is.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so there we go.
I love that. Okay. Thanks for clearing that up.
Yeah, no more questions out of that, I'm sure.
And then we have Shadow Moses, which comes up a lot in the game, and that's just the events of the first game of Metal Gear Solid. And then we have the main setting, which is Big Shell, which is later we learn is part of Arsenal, which is a gigantic Metal Gear.
Like a Metal Gear fortress, kind of. Like an aircraft carrier for Metal Gears that lives under the ocean.
And the Metal Gears are basically like bipedal tanks
Yeah.
that can shoot nuclear missiles.
And also, the central conceit of this whole like franchise is that a bipedal nuclear tank is the most powerful possible weapon. If anyone ever has one, it's game over. I don't exactly know why, but like apparently being bipedal is super crucial tactically.
Don't question it.
Yeah, really though.
And then we find out about the Patriots.
AKA
dang
the Lolly
Patriots.
Lule Low.
Yeah.
The Patriots are the Lale Lulelo.
Yes.
The
That's the same thing.
Lo.
The Lolly Lule Lo.
The Lale Lo.
Yeah.
Sounds like a Wizard of Oz song or something.
Follow the Lolly Lule.
Yeah.
So the Patriots are essentially the United States government. They're a shadow government, and everything that takes place in the government is just show for the public.
Yeah, I would say the Patriots are the Illuminati, is the easiest way to think of it. They control everything behind the scenes. Your elections are just a fraud. It's really whoever they put in power. Whatever shows up on the media, it's because they decided it would be there.
Yeah.
That's the Patriots.
Yeah.
And if you're already confused, just wait. There's more.
And then we have GW, which is Arsenal's AI.
Oof. Yeah, it is one of Arsenal's AIs. It's the only one you talk about in this game. So yeah, let's just call it that.
One of Arsenal's AIs?
So a whole thing with this game is that it was supposed to be the last one. And so like it sets up all these things that Kojima never really planned to resolve or have answers for.
Oh.
Yeah, which tells you a lot, I think.
Yeah.
But so later on you learn that there are like several AIs that have like initials based on presidents or whatever. So GW is George Washington. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
fundamentally it's the
cool.
AI that they have running on or for Arsenal gear.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then we have Raiden, who is at the Big Shell because he believes he's trying to rescue the president
Yes.
Yeah.
and the other people that the terrorists are holding hostage, which are Dead Cell. Dead Cell are like the main
The terrorists.
terrorists who are told that are the main bad guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Nikki, I understood you had some questions for some reason. Was that not entirely clear?
I have questions. I think Eric also has some questions.
I do.
Well, how about this? I think I can give you a brief plot synopsis that kind of gives you the high-level overview. And
That would be
you
great.
can ask questions from there, and also
Yeah.
probably the audience maybe
Okay.
would appreciate that.
Yeah. Go for it.
So, in the game, you play as Raiden, and you are brought on being told that the president's been kidnapped, and there's this terrorist threat, so you need to like get him, and the terrorists have a nuke, so you need to get that, whatever. What's actually happening, though, is that the leader of the terrorist organization is Solidus, and he is staging an uprising against the Patriots. So he found out that they're in control of everything. He doesn't like it because he prefers freedom, and he's going to like take them down. And his plan ends up being to sort of like detonate a nuke over New York City or whatever, which would do a sort of Fight Club sort of thing where it resets the balances, or like an EMP blast. I don't know.
Okay.
But so fundamentally what's actually going on is Solidus and Dead Cell trying to rise up against the Patriots. You are Raiden. You don't know it, but you're an agent of the Patriots there to stop them so the Patriots can stay in power. So like one of the core things they don't really exactly come out and tell you, but you're kind of the bad guy in this whole game. You are working for the Illuminati,
Oh my god.
trying to preserve the power structure.
What?
So basically,
I'm the bad guy? Oh no.
Snake! So yeah, so the whole game is like you get there and you start talking to people and you find out more about this whole Patriots thing and that you're probably a sleeper agent. The actual Solid Snake is there sort of for his own reasons, just based around like there's a Metal Gear, so I'm gonna go fix that. And so by the end, you learn that actually, it wasn't even about like trying to stop this uprising. The whole game was a situation constructed by the Patriots just to prove that they could coerce everyone into doing what they needed and sort of play their roles. So that's sort of like the last 30 minutes plot twist is like, you're actually not here to stop the Patriots. You're here because we wanted you here. Now go do what we say because reasons that we've set up. So it's basically just a whole exercise and them proving that they control your free will.
Yeah.
That's the game.
And
So-
it gets nuts at the end.
Oh boy.
Well, the whole thing is nuts,
so
but it
the-
really goes crazy at the end.
So the S3 program is not Solid Snake Simulator.
It's that. What's the final one? It's like
yeah.
selection for societal sanity, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sort of the same thing. Like the whole thing is like we wanted to put Raiden in the situation and prove that we could control him. When they first tell you that, it's to make him into Solid Snake, but really it's just.
I feel like it's
Yeah.
they go to a lot of work just to prove a point.
Oh God, yeah. Well, I mean, their goal is right to be in control of everything, right? And so this is the test crucible that like we can pull this off, we can do anything.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, does it hold up under intense scrutiny? Maybe not. But also, is that also sort of the point?
Probably definitely is.
Yeah, who could say? All right, so questions.
Yeah, my first one is, what the fuck is going on with Rose at the end of the game?
Oh my God. Yeah.
She's literally like taunting you to kill Solidus, and then at the end of the game, her and Raiden hug it out. And you also find out that she's an agent working for the Patriots who's been telling them everything that you've been doing. Like,
And she's pregnant?
and she's pregnant.
And she's an AI.
Yeah,
So-
that he's
And
never
she's
met.
an AI.
But she's pregnant with his baby.
He's
somehow.
never met her, but this is the anniversary of the day they met.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
why?
did
Why?
do you know what's going on with any of that?
So kind of.
Okay.
So toward the end of the game, you find out that Colonel and Rose, who you've sort of been talking to on radio the whole game, are AIs, like headquartered in Arsenal gear.
Yeah, and they kind of start glitching a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of creepy.
It's amazing. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably the high point of the story in
Oh
my
yeah,
opinion.
the last hour of the game is very much like what sells it for me. But yeah, so like in the game, you upload a virus onto Arsenal gear, and then shortly after that, the Colonel and Rose, who are supposed to be your buds, like start going fucking crazy and saying the most ridiculous shit in deep and creepy voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing is like there's another theory around this game, which is that the entire thing is a simulation, and like no part of this game takes place in the real world. It's all just VR because they make a big point of like riding with strain in VR, and we have like perfect simulation VR now. You'd never know, which is another thing. But so to me, the best answer, the sort of like most coherent one, is that Rose is a real person. Colonel is unrelated to the one you see in the game, a real person, but he was in the first game. But like they build an AI based on the Colonel and based on Rose, and those are the ones you're talking to for most of the game. So basically the whole game they're AIs, but then at the end you do sort of run into real Rose, who, you know, I guess she was real after all or whatever, and
Oh, yeah. And
actually
Okay,
is her
okay.
girlfriend.
so she may or may not actually have been an agent or
Yeah, unclear if she was actually part of any part of the mission or if it was all a simulation, but
Yeah,
probably not.
yeah, that's the part that confused me. Like how much of what she said was true versus how much I guess was AI or
Yeah,
Yeah.
And like some of this was retconned in MGS4, which like if you don't like cutscenes, don't play that game. But so like I'm speaking from the perspective of like what was true when MGS2 came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We appreciate that, Mark.
just glad to be here as the resident expert on this needlessly complicated game.
Exactly. My question, or what I got confused about, or one of the things I got confused about, was Emma and
Otacon.
Otacon's relationship.
Oof.
They're step siblings,
Yep.
correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
But it seemed like she was madly in love with him, but he got seduced by her mother when they were younger.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, sexual abuse, red flag, like
Yeah.
not cool.
Yeah. This is like playing through the game. I kind of forgot about that part, and I was like, this might be the thing I nominate as like holds up the least well.
It was super, it seemed like out of nowhere too.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
like the,
Random.
Yeah, the thing with Otacon and his sister is like, you know, okay, this is sort of a weird 2 hours of the game that doesn't really connect to a whole lot else, but whatever. They were step siblings. They fell for each other. I'm not here to judge that. It's fine, I guess. But like, then after she dies, there's just this weird flashback where Otacon just like reveals that like, oh, also I had an affair with your mother. Oh, also that's the reason that like your dad, my dad, I forget, killed himself.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need to be there at all. It's just dark and weird for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it gets
yeah.
super, super dark around that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, it felt, I don't know, uncomfortable when she was dying. I was like, oh my God, what?
Yeah. No, I definitely agree
And
with that.
also, I had to go save her just for her to die. Ugh. And the water parts are hard.
Well, you did
And
get the
so,
virus. You did get the virus from her, so
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
But
like, she
it
has a
sucks
role
that
to
she had
play
to
in the
die
game.
like right afterwards.
Yeah.
It really does. Yeah, it's very much the fridging trope, right? Just like she dies so that we can have a sad scene with Otacon. And that's really it.
Yeah.
yeah. So GW, it's Arsenal's AI, right?
Yep.
But then Arsenal crashes, and it's still there.
Well, Arsenal crashes, but like we're talking about like a giant aircraft carrier style thing. So,
Okay,
like,
so-
Arsenal crashing isn't Arsenal exploding.
Okay, gotcha. So it's still the Arsenal AI that's
Talking
and-
to you at the end.
But it's also somehow related. Like, is it the Patriots AI or the White House AI or like,
Yeah.
or some? It also said it evolved from a primordial soup at
Oh
one
my
point.
god. Yeah.
I just got really confused. Like, is it coming from Arsenal or is it coming from the White House or is it coming from like?
Yeah.
Is it its own thing that's kind of evolved? Yeah, I got really confused.
I think the best you can do with the primordial soup line is pretend they didn't say it because I don't know what the fuck that is. But I think fundamentally, GW is an AI developed by the Patriots to do this whole let's control all the information in the world program.
Okay. Yeah. So it's trying to control all the information. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. But like, and the whole thing, right, was like the first game, like I said, had this whole emphasis on genetics, and the second game has this whole emphasis on memetics, right? The meme counterpart, which is like, you know, if we're going to dive into things I love about the game, super ahead of its time, right? Like, this is very much like where I learned the word meme way ahead of when everyone knew it. And it has like a broader meaning here of just like any idea and its ability to like spread through the population, right? And how powerful that can be.
Yeah.
So like they're very much trying to draw, I think with the Primordial Soup line, an analog between like, do genes govern our destiny versus do memes govern our destiny? And like, what is free will in the face of both of these things? So that is my complicated answer.
That's good. That's okay. And then, sorry. Then we have S3. Yeah. What was their end goal? I guess it was just to prove that they can fuck with Raiden.
Raiden, aka you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It
then,
worked.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so yeah, I guess they're just testing out the feasibility of manipulating people. And then at the end of the game, like, you know, you go through the credits,
Yep.
you find out that one of the Patriots was a donor to Snake and Otacons group, and then they say this line, it almost feels like they just wanted to like fuck with you. they say that all the Patriots have been dead for over 100 years.
Yep.
What the fuck?
I think to that I'll just answer once again, he didn't expect to have to make any more games. Like, what could it be except there to fuck with you and just leave it alone?
There's a lesson to be learned here that even if you think it's going to be the last game, you should make it like it may not be. Because if it makes enough money, there will be more.
Yeah.
So that was pretty much just a throwaway line then, you think?
I mean, I don't know what else to say about
Well,
it.
you played the later.
Yeah. Well, the thing about MGS4 is, like, it is a Herculean effort to tie up all these plot threads that were never meant to be tied up.
Yeah.
It is
Oh,
arguably
gosh.
pretty good at that, for the most part. It's its own monster. We probably shouldn't get into it, but they do go back and try to do that.
Okay.
But yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much.
All right.
Don't lose any sleep over it.
For real, yeah. I do think, though, like, going back to the S3 thing, the thing that makes this game really cool to me, if I can get to sort of like the central, I guess, thing that I like about it, right, is that,
Yeah.
like, the whole thing is trying to be a statement on just like the entire medium of video games. So like, Raiden isn't just a character you control, like, he is you. He is a guy who thinks Solid Snake is really cool and has pretended to be him in VR and wants to be just like him and will like go on all these missions, not really even knowing why, just because some computer voice tells him to. And just like, wait, I'm Raiden, aren't I? Shit, I've been Raiden the whole time. Also, I hate Raiden. He's totally unlikable and whiny. Shit, I'm Raiden, aren't I? This is like the core conceit of the game. And then, like, obviously at the end, you know, like, he looks down at his dog tags and has your name on it because he wrote it in at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In case you weren't clear on the metaphor, that's where it is.
Yeah.
And then he throws it away.
Speaking of, what did you put your name as? What was on your dog tags?
I never even bother with it because, like, I know the plot twist is coming.
Ah.
Did you put something hilarious?
Yeah, butts.
That's my go-to.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
What
really
was
good.
yours, Eric?
Squid.
Like,
So random.
Yeah, I don't know.
I played Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu like earlier this year, and I think my name was Butts. Either me or my rival was Butts, and the other one was Beef Son.
Nice.
So that was fun to hear Professor Oak yell.
Yeah.
Anyway.
You know, super mature things
Yeah,
happening.
great minds think alike, though.
Yeah, so those were my main questions. I'm still pretty confused, but I'm glad you at least tried it out.
I have a very important question.
Hit
Okay.
me.
Why do they make you avoid pee?
Oh my God.
At this one part.
Did you avoid it? I can't figure out how to avoid it.
Yeah, you had to like scale the wall, like just like lean up against the wall, you know, like
Yeah,
where you're
yeah.
like sliding against the wall.
I always just
But-
get peed on when that happens.
Ew, gross.
It
Yeah,
is.
there's a part where it just goes to a cutscene of this guard, and he's like, "Man, I really should have went to the bathroom," and then he just starts peeing over the like
Yep. Over the balcony.
over the edge of the balcony, and you have to go underneath it. And I managed to. Well, it splashes so much that I still got wet, but I at least didn't get hit by the stream. But I was like, "Ew, that is so gross."
Yeah, that's a weird thing that you included.
I probably thought that was really funny back in 2001, but I would definitely cut it out of the game nowadays. if I could.
Right? Yeah.
I
it
will
was
say
weird.
it's like it's not shit like that isn't unique in this franchise. Like there's a recurring character. His whole thing is that he has diarrhea.
Oh my god.
He's like a guard with diarrhea, and he shows
Yeah.
up in most of the games. I don't know why.
Something that I do like about this game, and if we want to start talking about the
Let's go on
pros,
the pros.
Sure.
is that it takes itself very seriously, but also not at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And doing that, getting that kind of balance right is really hard, but I think they do a pretty good job of like, oh my god, like this is ridiculous. Just you say that like 1,000 times while you're playing the game. You're like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. What the fuck is happening? What? oh my god.
Yeah, I love how it like pops that game over screen on you like towards the end.
Oh yeah, the fission
Yeah.
mailed screen.
Yeah, and you're still sitting there playing, but like it's in this tiny box in this big game over screen.
Yeah,
God, that's so fucking
and
cool.
I'm sure that like so Eric was kind of like coaching me most of the time when I was playing, and I think you had more fun just watching my reactions to all
Yeah, it was great.
everything that was happening. Because like when that happened, I was like, "Is that it? Is the game over? Like, what the heck?
How
Like,
dare
they're
you."
just like gonna end it like that?"
Yeah.
Because like usually you only see that screen, when you die.
Yeah,
So
when
it
you
was
fuck
really
up.
confusing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it says fission mailed instead of mission failed, which I love. And that's right after Colonel calls you on the radio to say, like, turn off the game console. You're sitting too
Yeah.
close to the screen. What the fuck?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that, like, very much, like, the part where you wake up on Arsenal gear naked and everything is going bananas, like, that's the part of the game that makes it
Yeah,
really-
at the end when you're getting the calls like every 10 seconds.
Yeah,
that was the only time I was actually excited to get the calls. I'm like, what's going down this time? What the fuck?
yeah, what
That's-
crazy shit is
like,
gonna say.
I never use the codec in this game because, like, I know where to go at this point. I've played enough times. But,
Yeah.
like, that's the part of the game where, like, I'm calling the Colonel. It's like, hey, tell me something else.
Yeah.
What else you got for me? Let's do this.
That's great. My pro is while the story kind of builds a little bit slowly, like towards the end of the game, it gets really good. In fact, a lot of the ideas in the game may even be more relevant today than they were in 2001. Ideas like how much power our elected officials have versus how much may be controlled by like shadow figures. The rise of internet misinformation and junk information, and whether there should be any attempt to censor it, and digitization of the military and how it can blur the line between video games and reality. I feel like all those subjects are even more relevant today than they are in 2001.
Oh yeah, they even at one point talk about how people are in their own little ponds because
Yeah.
you obviously that happens now because you decide what you see and what you don't see, who you're friends with, and so yeah, that whole like little spiel at the end when they're talking about all that, I was just like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, do
They
you have a crystal
predicted
ball?
The future.
Yeah, and in 2001, right?
Yeah.
And that's the point of the game where, like, the AI is talking this deep voice and this creepy music, so the whole thing is just really unnerving.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, like, that part of the game more than anything else sticks out to me as on replays of just like, holy shit.
They called it.
Yeah. and plus, like, it changes the whole context of that scene, right? Because, like, when you first played it, maybe, let's say, pre-2016, just to pick a year out of a hat,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, this is so evil. They want to censor us and tell us what to think. And
Yeah.
I'm looking at it like, a couple AIs kind of in charge of deciding what's true. You could do worse, is all I'm saying. Like, we may actually have a need for that. I see the appeal.
Yeah.
I see the appeal.
Yeah. You kind of start to empathize more with the AI. It's like,
Yeah.
there is just a lot of shit.
Yeah. No, that part it's so wild.
So do you have any pros?
Yeah, I mean, so this is my favorite game. So, like,
A lot of them.
minor apologies to Nicky for whatever struggles you had.
Oh
with
my
it.
god.
I definitely understand that it's not for everybody kind of thing. So there are a lot of pros. The first one that comes to mind, because we were just kind of talking about it, I'll maybe start with like an easy one that I think is maybe uncontroversial. The codec mechanic in these games, I think, is the perfect balance of like, you can always get unstuck without having to Google something. You can always just like call someone on the codec and they'll tell you where you need to go. But also, like, they don't constantly do it. You don't have like a arrow over your head pointing you to the next objective at all times. So it feels like you have all this freedom, but also the game it's smart enough to get you to where you need to be. So it's just this perfect sort of like built-in help mechanism that, I don't know, I really appreciate a lot more than modern games where it's just like you end up spending all your time staring at the mini-map because that's where your quest arrow is, or
Yeah.
something dumb like that. So that's a thing I like.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I still got stuck even with the codec, but
Well, the thing they don't tell you is like you need to call someone on the codec if you're not sure.
Exactly.
But
Well,
yeah,
I
you can
figured
still
that
get
out.
stuck, Yeah.
There's so much dialogue in the codec sometimes that if you miss anything on accident,
I saw you hitting start like so much during this
Accidentally
direction.
just tap start.
and then you're like, oh crap, I missed something important, and you're like, what do I need to do? You can just call the colonel, and usually he'll kind of like at least give you like a basic gist
Yeah.
of
Of
what
course,
you need to
sometimes
do.
you'll call him and you'll want to know what to do, and he'll explain how to use lockers or something.
That's
Yeah.
true.
It's
That's
It's like,
true.
God damn it, I just want to know where to go.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's not 100%, but it did help me a lot.
Yeah. Nicky, you got a pro?
Yeah, the box disguise is the best. I love the whole concept of the box, and like this is the part where it's like they take themselves seriously, but this part is like they don't take themselves seriously at all, because so basically you can, in the game, your character can find a box and you can put it in your, like, I don't know, your items or whatever. Yeah, and then whenever you want to hide from the guards, in plain sight, you just put the box over yourself, crouch down on the ground, and slowly move around. And as long as none of the guards specifically see you actually moving, like as long as you stop in the hallway before they look at you, they do not care that that box was not there the last time they walked to the hall. They're just like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, it's like they're literally walking back and forth between the same spot like 50 times, and they're not going to notice just like the sudden appearance of a box.
I guess we got a fruit shipment in the last 5 minutes to the middle of this hallway.
Exactly. And like, so I played on very easy mode, and which I think probably makes the box even better, because you can have like 20 guards chasing you, and then you just put this box on and go sit in a corner and wait for 20 seconds or whatever, and then you're good to go. Like, you can start back over again without all the guards chasing you. They just go back to their stations or whatever.
God, that's amazing.
Honestly, you could have mixed result doing that even on normal difficulty. I feel like that was, if you, once you got away out of their view and you put it on, half the time they would either like start shooting you right away, and the other half they would literally be confused about where you were.
Yeah, that might be a difficulty thing. I don't use it a whole lot. I know there's also like there's multiple boxes, so like you get better results with the one that blends into this environment. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was
there's
wondering why
like
there's
box
so many
numbers,
Yeah.
like 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever.
I guess that makes sense. That box looks like one of the other boxes that's in the room versus like, I've never seen that
But
box
it just kind of adds like a silly, fun element to see like what you can get away with disguised as a box.
Yep.
And then like, I don't know, it's just funny.
Oh yeah. One of my pros is they really do give you like a ton of options for how you get around. Like you can sneak past guards, put guards to sleep, kill guards, distract guards, hide guards in lockers, use karate on guards, use boxes to hide in plain sight. You have so many options.
You can throw them off the edge of the boat too.
You can jump over the rail and go over the rail. Like you can do so much stuff in this game. That's one of the things that impressed me, especially when I first played it around 2001, 2002, I think, when it came out.
Yeah.
I don't think I played this game when it was new. I probably waited a year or two. But yeah, it was just like you had so many options of getting from point A to point B. It was great.
Yeah, and like sort of related to that, like there's an incredible just level of detail put into the game, right? Mm-hmm. It means nothing now, but the fact that you could shoot individual bottles and have them explode, and like fruits and stuff like that, or like if you stand in the rain too long, you'll get a cold and start coughing. Just like such deep like systems that are kind of like added onto it.
Oh wow, I didn't even realize.
Yeah, I didn't realize
that.
that either.
Yeah, I mean, you might not, right? Like, you could play through the game and never know it.
Yeah.
Sort of that point, like Metal Gear Solid 5 is kind of, I think, the ultimate game of that, because it's like an open world game, and you have like a ridiculously large tool chest of like weapons and items and stuff. But what I think this game does really well is they're all, maybe not, you don't have to use them all, but like they're all useful to you, and like there's a good reason to use them, you know? Like with MGS5, I kind of got to the point where like this is my loadout. I have a sniper rifle and a machine gun, and I'm good. But like in this game, it's like, here's the part where like you need to use the sniper rifle. Here's the part where the mines will actually be really helpful. Yeah, all the skills they teach you, almost all the skills. There's like a legit part of the game where it's like, cool, you need to master that now. It walks you through it. It doesn't feel like, you know, it's your job to make this fun or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, everything has like a reason. And a piggyback off of yours is I like the variety of weapons and gadgets that you can use, and you can mix them together or whatever, but you have like 6 or 7 different guns, and then like a grenade launcher and like a missile launcher.
Oh yeah.
And then a bunch of other things too, but I don't know. It's just cool. Like, specific guns are used for specific ranges and scenarios, and so you have to know what to pair together, like what gadget to pair with what gun sometimes to get through a mission or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of variety there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Any other pros, Mark?
I mean, definitely. The biggest thing for me, right, is just the whole sort of like what the game represents on the just like, you can stand back and like be thinking about this game for like a whole week if you get really into it, you know?
Yeah.
I just love shit like that. I'm a total sucker for it. So yeah, the plot is super cool, even when it's absurd, and just this meta level of just like, you know, it's said to be a very postmodern game, right? Like, it's sort of about video games more than it is anything else. And the whole framing device of Raiden as the player and questions about free will. I think it's executed really well, and like you couldn't do it any other way. You know, like you could write a novel of this, and they probably did, but like it's so beside the point.
They did.
It has to be a video game.
They did write a novel about
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
I think it came out in 2009.
It
or
wasn't
something.
Hideo Kojima. Someone took adapted the game into a
Yeah,
novel.
yeah.
I'm imagining Nikki reading the novel now, where she just flips through the pages, like whatever he's watching it.
Like, all right, I'm
Start.
Honestly, I like reading books. But it's like if I want to read a book, I'll go read a book, not
Yeah.
play a video game to read like 5
Yeah.
million lines of dialogue.
That might be a good segue. Do we have any more positives we want to say?
I
Before
have
we-
some more.
Okay.
Actually, I like the creative villains in this game.
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
the villains are almost like comic book, like maybe what you would see in Spider-Man or something like that.
Yeah, they really are.
Because like we were talking about Fat Man earlier, he's just a bomber that drinks wine out of a straw and rolls around on rollerblades and like bombs you 5,000 times.
Yeah, then you have Dr. Octopus.
Right.
I mean
Oh.
Solidus.
Yeah.
Right.
And then like wait, what was his name? The
Vamp.
Vamp, and then
Fortune.
Yeah.
what's the guy with solids or the
Oh,
snake's
Ocelot.
arm? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which reminds me of that one episode of Rick and Morty where Morty just has the big giant strong arm.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and then you have like the girl who can't get shot by bullets.
Yeah,
what was
Fortune.
her name?
Fortune.
Fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But plot twist, like she can get shot by bullets, but you don't know that until the end of the game.
Well, and then plot
But
twist
you're like,
again,
what is
she
she?
still can't, I guess.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
she still actually has some of that power. Like,
Yeah.
I think you kind of missed that part.
Oh, whoops.
But yeah, what was the Metal Gear that Ocelot was riding in?
Right.
Right, yeah. So Ray shoots a bunch of missiles at him, and then she stands up and like after they disabled her device or whatever, and she still bends all the stuff around.
Oh, cool. So yeah, she was cool. Yeah, just not your standard. Okay, here's like a military
Yeah.
colonel, and you're just gonna fight them. It's
Yeah.
cool.
And if you like that, like those characters like pale in comparison to how cool the first game's characters was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, like a thing I didn't even mention. I want to touch on this real quick.
Okay.
Because like it's part of the reason that I set up like what MGS1 was. Like the whole game, at times it feels like almost a shot-for-shot remake of the first game. Dead Cell is exactly the same kind of thing as like Foxhound. Like these are the terrorists, and they all have their weird sort of quirks and superpowers, and they'll give speeches. So just like you have super villain terrorists. There's like individual fights are almost the same. Like in the first game, you have to do a solo fight against like a helicopter, and it plays out very much like the part where you fight the jet in this one. You're using a Stinger missile or whatever.
Yeah.
So like the whole thing when we talk about Solid Snake simulation is like, yeah, another part of what this game was is exactly the same as the first game, and yet totally unlike it and unsatisfying in a lot of ways because it wants to be. Yeah, so I don't know. It's very much in conversation with that. But the point I was making was just the first game has really good bosses. Arguably cooler, better bosses. But yeah, I agree with you that these are also pretty cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I also think that playing on very easy mode, there was a lot of just humor, a lot of humorous moments. One of the games I liked to play was just to like see what I can get away with.
Like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like see how many guards I can get to chase me, and then like hide in a box to make them go away, or like just go into another room, and then they just forget about you.
Yeah.
And then you come back, and it resets. It's like,
Yeah, the
what
alarm
heck?
doesn't carry over from room to room and very
Yeah,
easy.
I see we've segued into the strategies portion of the
Right.
podcast.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, we probably need to talk about what we don't like about the game.
Yeah.
If there is anything,
Sure.
Mark.
I've got things.
I've
yeah.
got things.
I love the game, but I would not call it perfect by any stretch.
Okay, cool.
I will say, as one of my cons, is the controls haven't aged all that well.
Yeah.
It's fixed camera shots, so depending on where they fix the camera is how you control your character. And then it seems like every wall or box or anything, Raiden will get sucked against. He'll just
Oh.
end up like
Pressed against it?
Yeah, pressed against it.
Yeah.
And then your controls switch, or they kind of change when you're pressed against something.
Yeah,
So-
you go a lot slower. And if you're trying to just run around a room and you keep getting like stuck, like
Yeah.
going slow.
And I never
yeah.
really got comfortable with the you're supposed to be able to like get a shot off. You'll kind of have auto aim a little bit.
Yeah.
So you can kind of like poke out and shoot someone real quick and then get back into cover. I feel like every time I tried to do that, like I would shoot someone and then my character would just stay there
Yeah. Instead of going back.
instead of going back.
Yeah, I have that too. Like, just the controls are very finicky. You have to be standing like on the exact precise pixel, like to press the elevator button or to open a locker. If you're not standing in there, the exact spot, it's like doesn't know what you want to do.
Yeah.
Which I feel like, now games are like a lot better at that.
Yeah, but you have to realize it was 2001, and
Exactly.
this was actually pretty normal for that style or that era for games. Like if you go back and play any of the Resident Evil games, or
Oh god, yeah, with the tank controls.
yeah, with the tank controls.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
something I had to keep reminding myself because I almost felt like my niece and nephew are, because I haven't played any games on PlayStation 2, I don't think. Maybe we had like SingStar and like DDR or something like
Sure,
that.
yeah.
But so like I'm used to playing newer games where the graphics are awesome and
Uh-huh.
you have all this control over like your point of view and everything, and then like trying to go back and play games that are like 20 years old. It's a little like it's hard because the things that are intuitive for me like don't work, and so it's like you have to like go back in time,
And
like
relearn.
and relearn how to do the controls and everything.
Yeah, and like I imagine like if this game came out now, there'd be like lock-ons to enemies or something really simple like that, but just like it didn't happen back then.
Exactly.
So yeah, it definitely takes some getting used to.
Uh,
We already talked about like the whole thing with Emma is like super weird. And,
Yeah.
like, should definitely have
Yes.
been handled very differently.
Yeah, I have that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's a creepy storyline.
Yeah, I think it's very valid to like criticize this game of like being. I love the amount of story in it and how good it is, but like we could have used some more meat on the bone in terms of like gameplay to break up the cutscenes and the codec calls, right?
Exactly.
yeah, I totally agree with that.
That's like my number one con of the game is just the imbalance of gameplay versus cutscenes and dialogue scenes.
Yeah.
Like, I would say 1/3 of the time, probably you're playing game. And the other 2/3, you're sitting there watching stuff. Like, you don't even need the controller. You can just put the controller down. Just watch and read. And for me, that's hard because I want to play the game. And like, if I wanted to watch a movie, I'd go watch a movie. If I wanted to read a book, I'll go read a book. But I want to play a game.
Yeah.
And so I think they could have done a better way of incorporating the story while you're playing the game instead of pausing the gameplay and going to just storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they did a really good job in some elements of the game, like where they're incorporating the story, like when the AI is going nuts, for example. That's
Yeah.
a good example of how incorporating a lot of story into the game, into the
Yeah.
actual gameplay.
I do think that like that might have actually been exacerbated by playing on very easy, because like for me saying 1/3 of the time you're playing sounds like, oh, that's way too low. It's not quite that bad, but it might be
Okay.
that, like it might be that you're supposed to get the more gameplay by like having to redo things that are
True,
hard,
maybe.
Yeah.
Do you think you played on just normal mode, right?
Yeah.
How do you think? Like, what would you say the percentage of gameplay versus other stuff?
It's hard to say. I feel like it's a little bit more balanced on normal because you are dying a lot more, but it's balanced because of the difficulty.
Yeah.
True. I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But like regardless, like no one could argue the point that like holy shit, there's a lot of sitting and listening to dialogue.
Yeah, I
in
feel
every
I
Kojima
mean, there
game.
were times where 30 minutes to an hour, you would go without playing
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of the cutscenes.
And I feel like some of these could have been edited a little bit more for a little bit clear and concise without so much extra dialogue. Because when it does build, that's one thing I do like about the story. It's slow to build, but it does build into something really cool.
Yeah. I think it's one of those just like you'll play one of these games and then you'll know whether it's the franchise or not. Like,
Yeah.
Like I said, like I love it, and like to me, like all the cutscenes, or at least most of them are just like I get why it's in there and it's cool. It's kind of what I'm here for, but yeah, you definitely have to know that going in, and like either you're the kind of person who's here for that or you're not. So yeah, It's, like I said, definitely
Exactly.
not for
Or just
everybody.
prepare yourself ahead of time. Like,
Sure, yeah.
for me, a lot of stuff is just knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
And so, like, if I go into it knowing that's what it's going to be, then I can at least, like, prepare myself for
Right.
it. But, yeah.
Yeah, I feel that.
Definitely go into this game knowing that you're going to be watching a lot of cutscenes and stuff like that. Very, very heavy on the story.
Got more cons, Eric?
I'll let Nikki do some. I think she has quite a few.
All right.
Rose is annoying.
Yep.
Like, every time you go to save or anytime she comes up, it's like she wants to talk about your relationship, and it's like, biatch, I'm in the middle of a mission here. Like, I'm working. We cannot talk about how we don't have enough date nights or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, get out of here with that.
Yeah.
It's just, like, too much.
I think, Rose is super annoying, and I think, like, because of Rose, like, she exacerbates how annoying Raiden is, right? I think, like, part of what they're doing with Rose is, like, so in the first game when you're Snake, another thing that doesn't hold up super well is that they do this thing that was probably common at the time where, like, to demonstrate what a cool guy he is, he's always hitting on women and they're always into it. so like...
Yeah, I remember the first, like, 30 minutes I did play of that game, I was like, this game is sexist. I actually started taking notes. I was like, sexist? Because I remember one of the lines he said to one of the females he was working with, it was like, oh, cute and smart.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen
Yeah.
often, or something like that. And I was like, what the heck?
Yep.
But anyways, continue.
Well, so like, that's not great.
Yeah.
But, like, if we rewind our thinking about, like, gender issues by 20 years, you maybe wouldn't have noticed it as much. But just, like, the contrast being of, like, Snake is a super cool guy who all the women are into, and Raiden has the world's most annoying girlfriend, and he's always having to apologize to her and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this guy is... Like, you don't want to picture yourself being Raiden. Like, Raiden kind of sucks. I don't want to be Raiden.
He was
Yeah.
Kojima was picturing female players. They would appreciate the fact that Raiden was in a relationship.
Sure.
And he was always talking to his girlfriend. I think that's what he was thinking, maybe. I
Yeah,
don't know.
and that it makes sense that a guy would think a girl would like that. It's very inaccurate, because that's one of the things I didn't like the most. If you're gonna have a girl in a video game, make her cool.
Yeah.
Make her just as awesome as the guy characters, not just like a whiny person, you know, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. I actually think that, like, Metal Gear Solid 1 holds up way better in that way. Like, it has a number of female characters in it, and they're all really competent, and, like, they have their own, like, shit going on, their own agenda. Like, they have actual agency in the story. They have, like, time to dive into their backstories. Like, at the very least, you have, like, a pretty good roster of pretty well fleshed out, important female characters in the first game. In this game, not so much.
Not so much.
Yeah.
About Olga and maybe...
Olga, Fortune, and Rose, and I guess Emma. So yeah, not a whole lot to love about portrayal of women in this game.
Yeah.
What else you got?
Nikki?
I guess the only other thing is if you are like a slower reader, you know, like I'm not like the fastest reader out there. This game has so much dialogue that it's going to take you like a long time if you want to read like every line of dialogue. Or if I think our disc was like messed up, so the like the sound of them saying their dialogue didn't always work.
Yeah.
So we had to just read it, and I'm like, this is going to take me forever.
Is that true of like your copy of the game? Like where some of the lines of...
No, it should be fully voiced, all of it.
Okay, yeah.
Okay,
It was,
yeah, I think our game was just like messed up.
part
or
of it
something.
was I bought it from Blockbuster back in the day, so it was like a
Wow.
used rental game.
Yeah.
So I think there was a scratch that maybe damaged some of the dialogue, but you
Yeah.
can still read it fine.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's probably better like if you can listen the whole time. But if like
You were
you're having
skipping
to read the
those
whole
just
time-
as much as the ones that weren't voiced.
But like, if you could like put the controller down
just
and go
saying.
make popcorn while you listen to it, like that
Yeah,
might be
true.
a better experience.
Exactly, yeah.
Totally.
I don't really like. Other than that, that's kind of all I have.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had.
I
Just
would
a couple
say
things.
overall, like not the game for me, but I can see why it's your favorite game. Like I can see why it did really well. Like they really put a lot of thought into it, even though. I mean, some of the thoughts are crazy, but they really tried to go above and beyond, it seems like, to give people a game that's, like, worth their money. Because I think you said this was, like, a $60 game, right?
Yeah.
And so that's pretty expensive for 20 years ago.
Yeah, but it was commonplace. Like
it's
most
kinda weird that
new
video
games are
games are-
$60.
It's kind of weird that video games are still, like, $60. Like, that's, like, the standard kind of
Yeah.
price.
Yeah, it's always been
Like,
$60.
even
yeah.
20 years ago.
You would expect it to get worse over time, right? So, like, I
Exactly.
guess they're better now.
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe because you don't have to like physically buy like the case and the disc and all that. Maybe
Sure.
they save some money that way. But anyways,
But yeah, I agree. It's like, even if it's not a game for you, I think it's pretty obvious that it's a super ambitious game. You know, like
Yeah.
they tried something insane, And, for some people it'll land, and for other people, well, what'd you expect? You tried something insane.
Yeah, and the parts where you actually get to play the game are really fun.
Yeah.
Like, I do like the stealth parts, having to sneak around, because I'm not very good at that, so that was a little bit of a challenge.
Sure.
But I like having the little missions and, like, just when you do get to play, it's really fun.
Yeah.
There's just
Yeah.
a lot of not play.
And there's a lot of variety in the gameplay too.
Sure.
Yeah.
A lot of different stuff going on.
What was to say? A few of the mechanisms that they gave you, I know they were trying to do a variety, but like, for example, like the sound gun,
Oh, the
like
directional
those
mic?
parts.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like, did we really need to have to like hold this gun and like barely move it to the left and right to hear like what's happening on the other side of this wall? Like, I don't know. That was like.
They wanted the villain's perspective for the story, I think, but they were trying to figure out how you would ascertain that. So
I just thought, I was like, okay, this is kind of a meh. They could have thrown that out. Like, you didn't really need to, do that. But
yeah, I agree. Like, that's the thing for me in video games in general is like, if you're gonna make it a cutscene, just make it a cutscene.
Yeah.
Don't like make me stand here and like shepherd the controller through
Yeah.
it, like waiting for a quick time event or whatever. Like that could be a cutscene where we see Raiden using the directional microphone. That would have been great.
exactly.
It doesn't need to be interactive. I want to go
doesn't.
pee.
yeah, the only thing that you just don't hear the dialogue if you're not pointed right. Yeah,
Exactly.
and you're just sitting there in silence.
Yep.
So one thing I am kind of interested to hear you guys' perspective on is strategy. Because you guys know that I am not the best at strategy, but my number one strategy was try not to die. But it's pretty much should be your strategy for any game you're playing, I guess. So.
My main strategy was I put box strats or best strats. I love the box.
yeah.
One of the main reasons I love the box is because when you're wearing the box, you don't automatically snap to the side of the wall. Also, boxes don't work on stairs.
Yeah. I have box whenever you can use a box.
That's amazing. The box actually has one, so I don't use it too much in the regular gameplay, but it has one really great usage, which is during the Harrier fight. You're fighting the plane on the bridge or whatever. There's this part where it just like comes at you with machine gun fire, right? It's very hard to dodge. You basically have to like take cover somewhere. And it's really hard because just like, I don't know, the only cover on the upper level is basically just this like pole that you can still get shot around pretty easily. But if you go to the lower level, there's this like transformer box, whatever, and it's too small for you to actually take cover behind because it's only like waist high. But if you put the box on, you can be waist high and still move around, like adjust so that you're always on the other side from where the machine gun fire is.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's like the perfect solution for that. Otherwise, pretty difficult part, especially on the harder difficulties.
So you can use boxes not just as a disguise.
They have
Very
tactical value.
interesting.
Wow, that's cool.
I didn't think about that. I didn't even try to use it for anything other than
Should have got some of these
Disguise.
strats before we started playing the game.
Yeah.
Like a year ago, I think I played through this game on extreme difficulty for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And it was the thing where just like, I did most of it, but a couple plays just like, I need to go online and figure out how people have cheesed this because I can't. That Harrier fight is brutal on extreme difficulty.
I bet.
So is Vamp.
Yeah, Vamp was hard on normal difficulty.
Yeah, he's tough. I think the biggest strategy, we've already kind of talked about it, but like, once you figure this out, the sneaking portions become a lot easier.
True.
Once things go bad, leave the room. Like, the instant a guard sees you, you can usually get out of the room before they even manage to call their friends, and they just forget to do it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Like
Doesn't even
they'll
go to
Guards are
warning.
dumb.
they'll
Okay.
start. They'll even start with the dialogue for the radio, and if they don't finish it, then it didn't happen.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
So I think that's the number one thing. Once you realize that, the game gets a lot easier. Just leave the room when things go bad.
My strategy was once I got caught, I would just let my character die because it was faster than waiting for all the alarm stuff to go down.
Yeah, and you don't have to use up a ration or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
So I had a lot of deaths in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what was yours, like 90 or something?
Yeah, it was like 90.
I think mine was 50 or something like that.
That makes sense.
I don't know what mine was. You guys got any strats? Any other strats besides box use?
Well, like we talked about earlier, like if you miss a piece of information or you skip a scene or something, using the radio to call in and just get a lowdown of what your mission is or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Using that to help you when you're stuck.
Yeah. So you want to talk about the future?
Yeah.
Hideo Kojima left Konami in 2015, while Konami still holds the rights to Metal Gear, the intellectual property anyway. So any future Metal Gear games are unlikely to have Hideo Kojima involved. Yeah, just putting that out there because... Oh, and then at the same time, I've heard of this new game called Abandon that's supposed to be maybe Metal Gear Solid or that kind of franchise.
Yeah, I have that too.
I don't know
It
about
said, so like on Tuesday of this week, July 27th, it says Blue Box Game Studios released a new teaser for an upcoming PS5 game called Abandoned, prompting fans to assume that this game is a Metal Gear Solid title. And so basically they made a tweet and it said, are you all set? We are. And apparently the image shows a character wearing an eye patch, which appears to be a reference to Big Boss from Metal Gear series. So it says, according to Russian Insider, Abandoned is actually Metal Gear Solid 6. So that's the rumors.
Yeah, I have no idea if that's true or not, but
I guess it wouldn't have him involved in it, or...
unless he finagled the Metal Gear rights from Konami, or maybe they're working together again. I don't know. It seems like the relationship didn't end very well between Hideo Kojima and Konami, or maybe Konami's just doing something on their own without Hideo Kojima. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like Metal Gear Survive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say that. So the most recent Metal Gear Survive, came out in 2018 and did not involve Hideo Kojima. It was panned by critics and performed so poorly that Konami stopped sharing sales figures for the game.
Oh no!
Last checked, it sold around 35,000, but probably sold more since then. But they stopped telling people.
Yeah, it seems like they basically just wanted to cash in on the name Metal Gear and the fact that they still had the game engine for MGS5.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, how can we shit out a zombies game? We'll just do that.
Yeah, I hate when they do that.
But yeah, I think I've never heard of Abandoned, but like my take on it is I think most people who are fans of the franchise are just like, either it's a Kojima game or it doesn't count. It's kind of...
Yeah.
That's how I would feel about it. You know, like, I don't care what anyone else wanted to add to this canon that already has too much stuff in it.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And maybe we can watch the Abandoned trailer after this, or teaser or whatever, and we'll see what we think.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Do you have any more future stuff? I have one other thing.
I was just going to mention that, they were doing Metal Gear Survive. Hideo Kojima did his own game, which was Death Stranding, which did really well, sold over like 5 million copies or something. So he's doing pretty well without Konami, it seems like.
I played that game. I loved it, but also not going to be for everybody. Even more so.
Which game?
Death Stranding.
Oh, okay.
That's the one where you're Norman Reedus, and it's basically
Oh, yeah.
the Dark Souls of walking simulators. Like, your goal is almost always just to get from place to place on foot.
Okay.
And it sounds insane, and it is. And it also has the Kojima thing of just like lots of cutscenes and like, you'll spend a lot of time just like listening to dialogue.
Yeah.
But
So
also
he has a style.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I will say, like, if you want to try something that is like fucking bonkers crazy, but also just like very interesting and like compelling as another just like really ambitious game, like I ended up really loving it. I don't think I'd play it again, but I really enjoyed playing through it. So
Cool.
that game gets my seal of approval.
Yeah, yeah.
The only other thing I found was, have you guys heard of a game called The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker?
Yes.
Did you say Zelda?
Yeah, but the
Yeah.
Wind Waker one?
Yeah,
I've never heard
GameCube.
of that one. Oh, okay. So apparently they have a Solid Snake mod, which basically replaces Link with a chibi version of Solid Snake, including a teeny tiny knife and a teeny tiny gun. And it's pretty cute.
That's awesome.
But yeah, that just happened not too long ago.
Nice. All right. So moving on to the challenge.
Oh, good God.
The question would be, did we beat the game on normal?
No. I did beat it on very easy, though.
That's
Respect.
good. That's great.
I mean, like, to me, the difficulty isn't about it. I probably wouldn't even have said normal, except that I felt like I had to throw something in there. But, like,
Yeah.
to me, the game is more just, like, play through the game and absorb it.
Yeah.
It's really what I
It's the
do.
second part that I wouldn't have gotten either
Yeah.
way.
Then the
Sure.
second part was understand the story,
Which yeah.
I definitely failed
No,
on that.
I
front.
understand it a little bit more now, but it's a crazy story.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I'm gonna be rapping.
Yeah. Okay.
You gonna be rapping?
Yeah. Do you want to rap with us, Mark?
Well, I played through the game on hard, so I guess technically I failed my own challenge, and I'll also jump in and rap.
Failed because you made it harder on yourself.
Oops.
Oh no, we have to hear Mark rap.
All right.
Awesome. So yeah, let's check it out.
Snake, do you read me? We're gonna start calling you Raiden. We sent you alone armed with only a phone, so you better get better at hiding. When that's not in the cards and the guards are unleashing a volley, you lay low. Now do what you're destined, there's no time to question the lolly lay low. 2 years after that rig fell, it's a sick hell in the big shell. Need to put that bad boy solid this who did all of this in a thick cell. I can save the day like my hero Snake, well golly, you say so. Put a box down, I'm in Foxhound for the lolly lay low. On arsenal gear, things become farcical here. Colonel is starting to smear. Solidus, get on that arc and he steer straight to Manhattan to darken their pier. He must be deflected, but shit, he protected by all those new rays though. But you in our pocket, so fire them rockets for lay low. See, the world is engulfed in truth. Information with no use. Fake news, page views. Time for S3 to make its debut. Rhodes and Colonel really seem like they'd have bodies, do they though? Nah, they just a couple avatars of the lay low. You accept it without thinking, drinking all that Kool-Aid, so you'll play your role and do as you're told for the lay low. The lay low. For the lay low. Just play the game and forget the name of the lay low.
As a gamer noob, I have a lot to say. This game needs more play stuff, watching cutscenes all day. Twists and turns, his stories pray. Gotta keep the guards at bay. Was made to do this without pay. Watch me slay anyway.
I'm a box. I'm a motherfucking box. Got my brown socks on, and I'm still as a rock, like an onyx that was summoned by the gym leader Brock. I'm sneaking around the docks, as stealthy as a fox. I'm a lock, but I'm not gonna stock anywhere. You see, boxes are square, we're angle impaired, and now I'm face to face with my nemesis stares. Unfair, they ensnare and instigate affairs. My wife's leaving me for a motherfucking chair. Fuck stairs, nothing can compare. Fuck stairs, they killed the panda bears. Fuck stairs, fuck stairs. I'm excited.
Hey, Eric, are you excited? Well, you just said you were excited, so I guess you're excited.
I'm excited. I want to hear what this new game
I've
is.
tried to give you no hints whatsoever to what
You
this
did a
is
good
gonna
job.
be.
You
So
did a really good
I wanted
job.
it to be a surprise. Do you want to try to guess or ask me any questions?
I literally
Try to
have
figure it
no
out?
idea. Have you said you played the game.
Yeah, I played and beat it.
You beaten the game.
Yes.
Ooh, I feel like that narrows it down, but I'm not sure how. Okay, I give up.
Okay. One more hint, and I think you can figure it out. It's
Okay.
steampunk themed.
BioShock.
Yeah.
Oh.
Which one?
So Infinite. So
Oh,
the
yeah.
newest one, which is 2013, so it's not that new. But and your challenge is to beat it on 1999 mode.
What is 1999 mode?
Harder mode.
It's the hardest mode that you can
Oh
get.
my god.
But you've already beat this game
That's true.
on normal, right? Or did you
Yeah.
play it on hard?
I played it on
'Cause
normal.
Sometimes you like to just pick hard. You're like that.
I'm
so.
pretty sure it was normal,
Okay.
although it felt very hard.
So yeah, you have to beat the game on 1999 mode.
We'll see how that goes.
This is my favorite BioShock game. Like,
Yeah, I
was a fan
love
of
this
one.
game.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Infinite. The story on Infinite was so good.
Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
and I wanted to pick something I knew I really loved. Since I didn't have the most fun playing Metal Gear Solid 2.
Hey, you powered through it. I'm proud of you for that.
But yeah, so I wanted to pick something I knew that I really liked, and we haven't played this since like it came out, right?
Yeah.
So it's been a minute.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to get to play this game again.
Cool. So we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
And And as always, if you like what you heard, go and follow us on Instagram, press any button _podcast. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter, Twitch, all over the place. And if you feel like it, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. That would be awesome. And thank you for listening.